Our bodies are alkaline by design and acid by function. That's important to understand if you want to understand how to get and stay healthy. Got to make sure that we eat the right foods that we're biologically adapted to eat. It's important that we eat those biophotons. Interestingly, when we limit our foods to only eating biophotons, we limit all of our food choices, which is the secret to an abundance on this planet. Ironically, when we don't eat our biophotons, we have this unlimited food selection, and that's what ends up causing scarcity on this planet. So to keep things simple, think of our bodies as a bunch of cells and then two main fluids. These are extracellular fluids, interstitial fluids. One is like the kitchen feeding those cells, it's the blood. The other is the bathroom, it cleans and protects the cells, that's the lymph system. The secret to being healthy, folks, is making sure that both of our bathrooms are clean. We've got two bathrooms. The lymph system is one bathroom for our cells. Then we eat and we eliminate, there's another bathroom. So the secret to health and longevity is having a fast-moving sewage system instead of a slow, stagnant cesspool. If this becomes a slow, stagnant cesspool, whatever we do to make that happen is going to make the lymph system also filthy, and it backs up. Again, alkaline by design. Our blood is slightly alkaline. That's the food. When our cells eat and eliminate, they poop out 3 pH. That's 50,000 times hotter than our blood. So our lymph system is a lipid-based, cholesterol-based system to deal with the acid side of our body. Alkaline by design, acid by function. We get in trouble, folks, because our bathrooms are getting filtered and they're backing up. They're seeping back out. They're coming back to where they came from. And it's acidic. Now, we have lymph nodes inside of our body for a reason. They're just like a septic tank is for a house, because there's bacteria inside those lymph nodes like there is bacteria inside septic tanks. Again, for the same reason, because everything on this planet eats and poops, and that's what the bacteria is doing. There's always bacteria to eat the poop. And we should remember that when we think about whether or not correlation equals causation. We find waste matter and we see the bacteria. Did the bacteria cause the waste matter? Are we going to blame the microbe? Keep that in mind. So again, our body is alkaline by design. That's what the kitchen's doing. Our bathroom is as acid. And we have these bacteria inside the lymph nodes that are converting this 3 pH to 6 pH, so now the body can process it. One of the worst things that can happen to us when we take antibiotics is we're killing all the bacteria. So now if those bathrooms aren't backing up and they're not being converted to 3 pH to 6 pH, now it can create a tumor or a mass, which is one of the ways it protects itself. And if it's 3 pH and it touches other cells, it's going to burn the cells, and that's what is cancer. It's an acid burn, mostly from our own waste matter. So we have to understand the body has a defense system. That's what our disease process is all about. Please watch Disease Mysteries Revealed. I'll put a link at the bottom or in a pinned comment below and at the end of this video also. In 42 minutes I explain the 4 long-term stages of the disease and the 2 short-term self-limited stages of disease, self-limited diseases. And when we look at the 4 long-term stages of disease, when we look at the first 2 stages, that's when the body's trying to clean itself out with the inflammations and the ulcerations. Then the last 2, the body's trying to protect itself. We have a protection mechanism for self-preservation, folks. The 3rd stage of this 4 stages of long-term disease is induration, hardening and thickening the scarring of the tissues like in multiple sclerosis. And then when we get to that last stage, the body creates tumors and cysts and fibroids and nodules and calcifications, stones like kidney stones and gallstones. So the main purpose of this video was to help you people who are having troubles with gallstones or kidney stones. We have to understand that this is how our body's designed. Your body's working if you've got kidney stones or gallstones. The only problem is you're not putting the right food in. That's why the body had to create these had to precipitate these acids out of the solution. We're either using calcium when it's in the kidneys to get the uric acid out, or the cholesterol when it comes to the gallstones. It uses that. So the body uses cholesterol and calcium to help deal with the acids in our body. And we got to be careful when we talk about acid and alkaline, because people will try to trick you and get you to look at the blood and start talking about the blood and get into the details about the blood, and that's not what we're talking about here. I've seen this done before by someone who tricked someone that should have known better, but he didn't understand how things worked well enough. The guy sounded like he knew what he was talking about, but he was tricking you by talking about the blood. It's the lymph system. It's the bathroom that we have to worry about. It's the acids that are coming from that can come back into the tissues. And if they're in the tissues again, the body has a way of dealing with it when it gets to a certain point. To protect itself, it will calcify, it will pull out those acids into a crystal form or salt form. So if you have gallstones, if you have kidney stones, you have to realize that you did it yourself. Almost every problem we have, it's because of what we're eating, what we're putting in our body. So the best thing to do if you have any of these type of problems, gallstones, kidney stones, the best thing to do is to take a solid food vacation. Clean out the main bathroom we have that backs up and affects all the other bathrooms that we have that surrounds all of our cells. Remember, I like to think of our lymph system as a big lake, a sewage system. Instead of the intestines being a fast-moving sewage system, imagine we've got a whole big pool of lymph fluid, and it's like the sewage system for the cells, and the cells are like boats that float on top of this sewage system. And the problem is when there's too much sewage in the lymph system, the cells can't even get rid of their own waste matter. And that's what leads to type 2 diabetes. No room for the sugar. Clean out the bathrooms we have, the cells clean themselves out, and then the cells say, come on in, sugar, I got room for you now. So for you guys who have type 2 diabetes, when you take a solid food vacation, you better monitor your blood sugar levels very closely at first, because within days and not much more than a week or two, usually for most people, you got to really cut back on that medication to a point where you might not be taking any at all. You know your body better than anyone else. You don't want to go into a coma because your blood sugar's dropped too low. So pay attention to and realize you've got more power over your health than anyone else. You can take a solid food vacation and clean out those 2 bathrooms. And then to expedite this matter, this is where I say the art of healing comes into play. I've said there's the science of healing and the art of healing. The science has to do with satisfying 12 essential needs. The art has to do with dealing with 2 additional temporary needs because we're damaged. Okay, how am I damaged individually, uniquely rather? Well, you've got some kidney stones, you've got some gallstones. What's a simple solution for both of those? There's an interesting herb, an Amazonian herb called Chanca piedra. Chanca piedra, Chanca piedra. And there's a company called Herb Farm Williams that sells a product called Stonebreaker, which is the translation of that word. And in the parentheses, real small print, you'll see the word Chanca piedra, and there's a few other ingredients in that. And when I help people take a solid food vacation, I always try to encourage them to do as little supplements as possible so they'll realize why they're getting better. They're flushing out their bathrooms. But we have 2 groups of needs. If the body's damaged, if you've got certain conditions like stones, you can help expedite this process. And this Amazonian herb can do that. It can help break up those stones so they can be eliminated. Just follow the instructions of the bottle. I don't sell any of this stuff. I don't sell any products, no juicers. I don't sell anything, folks. Just go down and for 10, 12, 15 bucks or whatever it is now, you buy a little big bottle, follow the instructions. I think it says take 3 drops a day for 3 times a day or something to that effect. It's been a while since I've done it. It took me about 2 weeks to empty out a bottle. Some of y'all may need a couple bottles, I don't know. When I hear women who've done this and they have kidney stones, they can feel gravel as they urinate as it's breaking up those stones. Another great idea for the gallstones I learned from Dr. Flora, who was Dr. Ann Wigmore's assistant for the last 22 years of her life. And she said to just drink, or chug-a-lug rather, some pineapple juice. First thing in the morning, all by itself. Don't mix it with anything else. Make sure you juice the core of the pineapple because that's where all the bromelain is at, and that's a proteolytic enzyme that's going to help break up these gallstones. And she even pointed out that if that pineapple isn't ripe yet, just poke some holes on the bottom of it, set a pan of water outside in the sun, and it will help ripen it up faster. And you can sprinkle some dulse flakes on there to add a little extra minerals in there, she said. But I've heard some interesting feedback from people who've done that, and of course, how more yummy can you get than pineapple juice? Man, that's so good. There's also quite a few liver gallbladder flushes out there. Andre Moritz wrote a great book on this. And there's a famous procedure that was used at the famous Lehigh Clinic in Boston, Massachusetts. That was the first one I was introduced to long ago. I remember a friend of mine's wife had problems with her gallstone, or with her gallbladder, and they wanted to yank her into the operating room. And she did that program and has been healthy ever since then, relative to her gallbladder. I may, in a pinned comment, see if I can find my notes on that if I've already typed it out. I think it's only been typed out on something else. I don't know if I can, I don't know how I can put it on there. I'll see if I can. I've got several files on this. I'll go put a little brief description for people who want to go that direction. I think a much simpler way to go about this is drink some pineapple juice if it's gallbladders. And then if you're not sure, either way, you can take the stone breaker and add that to some water. It's very bitter. Remember, bitter stimulates the liver, and that's one of the ways our body heals. So this is going to be a really short video. Just to remind you guys, disease is not that complicated. I did a short 42-minute video on Disease Mysteries Revealed. You'll see it at the very end in just a few seconds. And I'll also add a link to what is the healthiest diet for humans, because I go into much more detail about how we have 10 body systems, and you have to understand how they work relative to the cause of disease. So once we understand the cause of disease, and once we understand how we're damaged individually, I might have gallstones or something, then we know how to tweak what we're doing and make sure we satisfy both those groups of needs based on the law of cause and effect. We're living systems, we're subject to this law, but then there's that ripple effect. We can be damaged. So whenever you want to get healthy, remember, you have to satisfy all your needs. If you're doing something really aggressive like a solid food vacation, as I mentioned in my seminar, I have a link down below for that. You want to support your organs of elimination, but then you also have to support your body if it's been damaged in any way, like the gallstones, the kidney stones. So you have to understand the cause of disease. You have to understand we have 10 body systems, and that's part of what could be giving us trouble. Think of our body as a chariot being pulled by dozens of horses. We got those 12 essential needs. Those are horses. What's your sleep horse looking like? How about those 2 additional temporary needs? You got to look at those too. Do you have any subsequent causes that haven't gone away, even if you remove the primary causes? But then you got these 10 horses. That's these 10 body systems. That's another one of those 10 horses up there that are pulling our body. We got to identify every one of our body systems and look at how we're satisfying our needs to be able to tweak what we're doing to be the best that we can be. And I guarantee you, folks, it's not that difficult. The only hard part is making the decision. And we all know that. The decision's the hardest part of anything we do. And once we make the decision, we know we're in for a treat.